And the sauce, and the sauce, and the sauce, they call me Pep Mbona.
Hey, what's up, my people? Finally, due to public demand, due to my own demand, I'm back with the Source Roadcast. Najua kama unitambui naitwa Nabiswa Wanyama, music producer, sound engineer, life coach. But yeah, for those who used to listen to my podcast, it was called the Source Roadcast, ideally Roadcast, because nilikuwa nipige malap, kwa nipige maraundi kiasi as I, talk to artists, mabeshte wangu, all those people. So it's been imekuwa karibu mwaka moja, almost been a year since I recorded an episode. I've just been, as I say, I've just been grinding, plotting, getting a camera, so I can, because to be honest, personally, I don't listen to Mrs. Kiangi podcast audio. I don't know. For some reason, it's queasy watu, they're just visually stimulated. It's visually stimulated. So, inabidi kama mwanaume upgrade. Anyway, as Kenyans, as we do, Happy New Year, kama kawa. Hope mmekuwa poa. Hope everyone has been well. And it's been a minute, but I'm back with another. For those who are new hapa, unaweza ka subscribe, ukidai, like and share. The content is coming like hot fire. Yani inakuja consistently. We tunataka 2022 tukue consistent. So welcome, man. And today I'll be talking about kuna topic yenye it's been imekuwa ikinisumbua akili, it's been aching me so much. Na hii ni story ya kukuwa msanii Kenya. As I told you earlier, I'm an artist. Me who produce music, nimeimba kidogo. I also DJ. For some time I used to do events for like 3 years there. And so of course I am not the what's the word? I'm not the industry standard, but I'm sure I can speak on my experiences. Then, I can just share them with you guys, especially guys who are like, who want to enter the industry more. So those are the people I'm kind of like gunning for. And so today's topic, basically, nilikuwa nataka kuongelea, I don't know if I should say why you shouldn't become an artist in Kenya. Or rather, mainly the problem of being an artist, or rather relying on your art as a form of sustenance in Kenya, And for most artists, especially when you're on a watch up, they know, like, of course you might look, glamour, social media and all not, but like being an artist in Kenya is an extreme sport. To some extent, you can say it's a calling. Ni kama kuwa pastor, yani unaenda by faith, and you're just hoping, best case, even if you don't satisfy yourself monetarily, yani na pesa, you get the joy of just enjoying what you're doing and what you're making. So today that's the topic I want to focus on, maze. Why becoming an artist in Kenya? Ukiamua, if you want to take that path, you gotta be ready. You gotta be ready. And coming with high expectations usually kind of inafika mahali nachoma hapa, inafika mahali, let me put this on silent. Inafika mahali your expectations, you feel down because you're like, what, bruv, I really thought you just come into the studio, make good music, then it's a done deal. But so that's not the case, man. And to start this interesting story, I think kwanza, the first thing maybe I'd hit at that's kind of obvious, that I think there's a big problem is, of course, gava. Of course, tutazishajua gava, but with regards to art and even nikiongeza sports, I think there's a big problem. Like, there's a really big disconnect in terms of the goodwill from the government. Serikali yani haitambui art, haitambui art at all, unless una perform kwa rally kina them guys, inakuwa tricky. And so if you think like so ukiangalia tuanze na story za laws, unajua, so vile Kenya imesetiwa up na vile industry imesetiwa up is kind of doesn't favor the artist at all. So basic examples naweza kushow ni, I'm sure most videographers wanajua story ya Nairobi, and like most content creators, like it's close to impossible to create content, especially in the city, in the CBD. Of course, the main reason, I don't think it was like this kutoka kitambo, but ever since Westgate, ever since a terrorist attack, the government was like, yo, clamp down on all these cameras. Nani, it's so unfortunate because like, even if, and how, like, first of all, Westgate was very unfortunate, like, and we know, of course, Gava lazima, it takes repercussions to like curb the chances of terrorism. But the banning on like the use of cameras in my DSLR, like, was in no way related to the terrorist attack. You know, at no point, and of course I can be proven wrong, but according to my research, at no point was like a content creator's content used to plan for a terrorist attack, you know. And I guess the rationale is, oh, you can't record these buildings, and there are few that nyawezi record. Unajua ukipita pale DOD upon, we know there are some places we are like, yeah, security is key. But sasa wewe uko hapo like, and your record, you want to maybe do a shoot near Huduma Center ama uko Kenyatta Avenue, and in fact that's the only place wa Kenya we shoot juu ya rada ni safi. And of course pia we know apart from cops, Tao Mategi, we know them, wako for days, so kama unaenda huko lazima ukwe na rende, unajua. But like if you look at it, even with like ukiangalia sai with the age of Google Maps, like it's so easy to, there's this thing Google is called Google Live View, like it's so easy to just go online and see everything, man. Like you really don't need, like, everything, like the world is an open book. Sasa ukitaka kuona vile hata drone shot ya Nairobi wote utapata, you know. And so like in terms of security, like I don't think hapo gava ilifikiria sana in terms of ati don't record. And unfortunately, I think in Nairobi there's a time where the governor alikuwa like, yo, that rule is no longer there. But at the end of the day ukienda Tao, upata ena sanse uanze kumwambia my rights. As a content creator, you know my rights, man. I just wanna represent Tambo, brother. In fact, as soon as umeinua tu your camera hivi, tricks, you'll probably end up paying some 10k, some 5k, and all. And like, basically utaenda tu utadentiwa, basically, you know. The other thing is, like, the government is not really involved in art in any way apart from when it's time to like to be like the moral police. So unapata, of course, again, artists mnajua the one and only KFCB, Kenya Film and the Classification Board. So basically hawa ni morality police, and their work is just, of course, their bigger mandate is to regulate the industry and, you know, and rating of movies, shows, type of content. But what we've seen happening is guys like those, especially when there was the rise of Gengeton, if you all remember, I think it was like 2 years ago, Gengeton ilikuwa imeanza kushika. And my youth maze walikuwa na get in trouble ati juu their content kind of, you know, doesn't align with the values and ideals of the Kenyan society, blah 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 blah. And so walikuwa napata wasa wanatoa masongs inabaniwa, na even if they're not banned, there is a lot of negative propaganda against like Gengeton na your stuff. Now of course we'll talk about Gengeton Bele, because I think it was good, but it also, analyze Gengeton, it kind of came to show the real problem that we also find like with our industry. So from the Gava perspective, like it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that kazi yao ni kuhanda my youth. And you know, ukiangalia in context, I'm sure see what tuko kwa internet. Like, if it's pornography, it's very accessible. If it's all the other, what Christians would call vulgar music or secular music, ngoma za Cardi B ziko hazitabaniwa, ngoma za unajua Redeem Up ziko, ngoma za Jamaica ziko, all those, like all the crazy stuff is there. And so ni almost like hypocrisy flani finding that these guys are okay banning gengeton, yeah, ako like, hey yo, use music now, man, what are you guys talking about, you're encouraging drugs. But at the end of the day, all the content that is on YouTube bado wa Kenya wanaweza consume. So unashindwa, bro, like mnafikiriaje? And then we've all seen the moment you ban a song, the moment you ban anything, ndo senye watu wanaitafuta times 100, you know. And I think hiyo ndo hypocrisy yenye pia ina affect industry yetu mahali. We're trying to regulate the industry on a local level, and ideally right now we are competing on a global level. Hakuna story a local level. And of course you'll say maybe gengeton is not our best foot forward as a country, but at the end of the day it's still part of the content of our country. And if people from outside, ikwe Jamaica, ikwe kina Cardi B, ikwe kina nani, are able to monetize their secular content locally and even come for gigs and perform, then it becomes very unfair that for normal artists in Kenya, they can't really actually do stuff because it goes against the grain of society or whatever, you know. So that's the first reason why being an artist in Kenya can be a bit of an extreme sport. Because like, just know, and I think I have good examples. You find like in TZ, because that's the example I only have. Like people are so like artists are incentivized, like the government funds festivals, funds shows, you know. And so even as an artist, you know that even if you're underground, there are kind of platforms that have been set up by the government. And even if it's not that, you look at the other thing and your government kwanga imechoma ni hizi ma policies in terms of like what you need to do, the requirements for doing a gig. Unajua gig ni event. And so you find that to do a gig in Kenya is also, in most of Nairobi, let me say Kenya, is also quite difficult. When you compound like the licenses you need, you know, square vendor license ya NEMA, license ya nini? Mainly license ya license ya NEMA. For sure, you need license ya Kanjo. Ile yako personal ya kuonesha maybe you do events. Yani unapata at the end of the day there are so many like roadblocks, you know. And so even if you're a small group of artists and you want to do a gig, even the spaces are not there, you know. By the time you want to use let me say a public facility, you want to use Uhuru Gardens, you want to use Uhuru Park, I don't even know if there are enough halls, but if you want to use Kenya National Theatre, like it's not easy. You can't just wake up and say, "Haya, twende mazee majama tufanye gig." Like there's so much money, investment and logistics that goes into it that, yeah, by the time you want to do a gig, you kind of have to be a big promoter. And by big promoter, I mean, excuse me, it's not just you have the money, but you have the networks more so. And of course, networks in Amanja to connections. It's a good word for connections, because in Nairobi with connections, you know, you prosper. You can do gigs every week now. And so, like, as an artist, that's the first thing you should look out for. Like, just know the government is not your friend. Serikali, I tag you prosper. The government is not your friend at all, you know. And finally, even with the regards to the government, if you want to start up, like the taxes that we have on just getting equipment. So even if you're an underground artist, you want to set up your space, you want them. Like, it's so expensive, man. It's so expensive. I remember like 3 years ago when I was buying my equipment. The first time, I even forgotten the company I used. And also be careful, man. There are so many scammers. I think there's a company I used in the beginning, I forgot them, but then I used V2Mob, which I felt was a bit more transparent. Now stuff zangu zilikuja in like 2 weeks. The first time I used some company, I was just praying I haven't been scammed. Stuff yangu ilichukua I think 2 months kufika. Yeah, my heart was just throbbing. Ojai choma 150k unajiuliza, oh Lord. Na sasa hiyo ni pesa labda umeomba mzazi. So Ambia mzazi tena you borrowed money for your career and you are scammed. It becomes a bit tricky bana. Namba utafute kazi sasa. Yeah, but the taxes are so expensive. And so by the time I remember I was ingizing equipment for 140k, if I'm not wrong. I was ingizing equipment for 140k. Rather no, it was like forgotten. Yeah, let's say 140k. And in that 140k, you can imagine like 30k was tax. So yeah, you're in the gava. So we're done with the government. So as I was saying, just know the government, to be honest, the government is not your friend. Where comes Msanii, just put in the work, unajua, no hope, you know. To be honest, with good work, niko sure like people catch on and people support you. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is I think industry yetu iko na shida bigi ya identity. Tuko na ma identity issues mob. Nikisema hivi pia mimi naisema as part of the problem. Like pia mimi nikiproduce nimekuwa na nasikia niko na identity issues. Imagine. Sasa nikiacha njaribu kuexplain kaya inamaanisha. So of course tumesikia stories you know, play Kenyan music, terrain, blah blah blah, support Kenyan artists. And then like when you come to look at the history of our sound and music, like with time Kenya and most of Nairobi, because Nairobi unfortunately don't like in a control vibe ya nchi. So like if Kenyans, like if with this hits in Nairobi, it hits all over, like they can get on hit. And so I found what happened is like in Nairobi over the years, you know, Nairobi imekuwa grow, and so it reached some point where like being in Nairobi is just like being in any other city around the world. Of course maybe amenities will not be the same, corruption haitakuwa the same, but like in terms of the lifestyle, you know, it's just the same. Ndio maana siku hizi mnaona pia walami wamejaa tu Nairobi, because it's the same, it's a city, it's a metropolis, you know. And so my identity issue inatokea ni because of that globalization, like kufuata the international trend. It's imefika point mahali as Kenyans we kind of don't have a sound, you know, like we are a cocktail of sounds, we are a blend of everything, and we really don't have what you'd call our own sound, you know. So case in point, naweza kuambia ni like, if you think of UG, you can think of what's this name of the genre? I've forgotten, unfortunately, but I will research. But you know what? Kuna, and of course, it doesn't have to be like 100% original, because UG unapatanga wako na hizo like reggaeton, mohomboton type beats, but sawa inculcate their Baganda language in it. So ukifikiria kina Chameleon, Radio and Weasel, among others, you find that they kind of have their sound, even if sometimes they'll experiment. There's this at the core pale kwenye hapo at the core, they have their own sound. Ukienda TZ, same thing, they have bongo flavor, not just bongo flavor. And so in TZ, same thing, they have this kind of sound. Of course you'll feel some Afrobeat vibes, but still like at the core their culture is kind of intact, and their culture, you know, it permeates in their music. Ukienda wapi, ukienda Congo, you know, they have their own Lingala, of course, again inspired by something, but at the core it's a true representation of like their culture. But now ukikuja Kenya, especially when you look at in the Issa era time, it was a bit more like clear, because our music was very close to the culture, like so they'd sing about a Nairobi life, you know, things that people could relate to. Even now people sing about things that people could relate to, but it's not really about that. It's about the sound, you know. There's a specific sound that when somebody hears a like, hey, you're ngoma ya Kenya, I'm like, hey, you're, you know. And so I think for Kenyans, that's where we lost our identity somehow, and it's just I think it's as a result of being developed and moving forward. We've ended up like taking a piece of all the places that inspire. So be it hip hop in the US. Nowadays, you've seen the drill scene from the UK and the US also. You've seen the house scene, and most times that comes from of course, there was those times for Kina Diplo and EDM, but now it's really like the Afro house has Shikad, the Amapiano, and so you'll find that Kenyans, we are so good at good Khandi. We're so good at adopting genres and finessing them, so you'll find hip hop, kuna kina Calligraph, kuna kina Kaka, kina nani, hata kuna waseka wakadinali, wase wa wrong, kuna, and even in the underground scene kuna wase wengi, ukiona hata guys like Eddie family, the shrap geniuses, shout out. So those guys, they get inspired, but you kind of adapt it and do your own variation. And I think even Shrap is kind of a good example, to be honest, because again, it's just sheng and rap. It's not like wamefanya kitu mind blowing, but just kuweza kuconceive your idea na kuipackage in a way that now you can find relatability with your audience. Ndio kenye wase wa Shrap wali manage kudu. And you see the same thing now with time. You can see now when Gengeton developed, what happened ideally was it was kind of like a resurgence of, I can say, the times of Genge, times Akina Caliph, where the beat was a simple reggaeton beat type. Not exactly, but even Kapuka inspired to some extent, and people loved it because it was very relatable. Unajua, again, pia ilikuwa most of Gengeton ilikuwa inatoka from wase wa mtaa, unajua, wase wa ma projects, wase wa Oyole, hata si Oyole peke, Buru, machani basically ilikuwa inatoka from wase wa ghetto, unajua, before cool kid waanze kurepackage na kutry rebrand, but ilikuwa mostly ilikuwa outlet poa ya artists wenye wako kwa hood, because finally they'd found a sound that they can easily wanaweza content yao na wapush na wasiweze kuikula very fast, unajua. But then I think with the rise of Gengeton, ndo sasa unge notice there's a problem in our industry, kwa sababu Gengeton is just one aspect of music, unajua, where it's you have this club music, unajua, club music, fun music, ngoma ya kudunda, ngoma ya turn up. That was what Gengeton was about, But then if you look at an industry, and if you look at artists in general, not everyone will fit in the category of Gengeton, Now compare na other industries, ikwe America, ikwe UK, that's where you see the difference. Mali, yes, you can see, okay, hip hop ni predominant 90%, but bado kuna rock, bado kuna R&B, bado kuna these are ma cowboys naitwaje, country, kuna country, bado kuna gospel. And so I think that's where, again, you come to see the problem with industry as an artist. And I think this second point, I'd say, yes, of course, it's identity issues, but it's identity issues as Kenyans. And it's because I think Kenyans, and so in Nairobi, because of being so globalized, we've kind of lost our culture. We don't have a culture. And Nairobi culture, is it's like a savage type of culture. I'm saying what Nairobi is about, it's get your money, chunga maconman, chunga madem, pia madem watakwambia chunga maboy, watakwambia huku ni connections. And you see, at the end of the day, that's not even a culture, fam. Hakuna culture hapo, unajua. And so I think the cultures to create as Kenyans are very negative ones. I think the worst being a drinking culture. So Kenyans, at the end of the day, weekend ni ya majority, weekend ni ya ulevi, na kazi mlevi ni ya kanisa, and so unakaa hivi unajiuliza, wow, so kama wewe si mlevi na kazi si religious, there's nothing cultural for you to do in this country. Ikifika Friday, hakuna form yenye iko yenye si ya ulevi ama yenye si ya hallelujah. And I think hiyo ni shida kubwa sana, kubwa kabisa, cause since our whole entertainment scene is based on like a drinking culture, as an artist it then forces you to create content that aligns to what Kenyans like to consume. So of course Wakenya wasemanga nyo same mnaimbanga trash, hamna content. But again, majority of Kenyans wana enjoy music kwa club, hakuna time utasikia kuna festival tu fiti yenye it's not really focused on drinking, it's focused on good music. Maybe the only one you'd hear was jazz festival. Nimeona siku hizi sikujui vile Soul Fest ilikuwa, but yeah, maybe that was a celebration of music. I don't know, I didn't attend. Unajua, but like that's the big problem. So Kenyans, kama utoi ngoma ya turn up, unajua, you can only do so much, And again also, ukifikiria, I think that's the biggest dilemma, because we also have a diverse group of artists. Like we have guys who, and especially singers, like Kenya has so many singers, instrumentalists, who, like, just because of how the industry is set up, it pushes them into this corner mali. They can only do this type of content, which is frustrating, of course, and most on a personal level. Most ka vibe na hizo vitu. Kai ni mse tu ulikuwa unataka kuimba na uchill, maybe wewe tu ni mse wa kuseti, unajua unataka tu kuseti J yako na uperform bila pressure. It's not like those spaces are there, And again, by default, it may go even harder for Kenyans to appreciate that art form, of other alternatives form of music. Hata ikwe tu ni performances za maband pekee, instrumentalists pekee. It's hard, wezi enda sijui ni clubs gana siku, but na imagine wezi enda 18 set up live band. Like even the live band ideas, I'm saying, like ziko so few, like those platforms where you can go and do like live shows. And so if you're not a plug and play artist, ule wa USB kuja play my banger I go, sijui una perform wapi, as a Kenyan inafika base unakwama. And so the fact that mimi niko pro gengeton, but it's unfortunate that it remains like inashikilia industry, like hakuna alternatives. So kama kuna impress anadai kuimba my love song na fit in gengeton, atafanyaje? Nani atamsikia? Nani atamplay? In fact, Jupia radios, we know radio is in Kenya just crap. Like, I don't know. There's one nilikuwa nasikia Choice radios kuizi. I like, they play like a lot of Kenyan music. But radios basically are supposed to be the plug. It took 10 years behind. All of us tulikuwa tuna watchingi, rather tulikuwa tunasikianga tuna time top 7 at 7. Unajua? Because top 7 at 7 ya Kiss inge to plug new songs. Like you hear a song and you're like, damn, no time kuwa na Shazam. So kwa hapo rada. But nowadays, it's unfortunate. Wase wa radio, they do A&R on social media. So, a song will pop on TikTok, then they'll now play it on radio. And now it's almost like just following the wave. Because they're like, anyway, it's all about numbers, it's all about plays. And so unapata, like, ukishikanisha hizi vitu zote, that's what compounds, and that's why I tell you, kwa Msanii Kenya is an extreme sport. Because there are so many things stacked against you unless you do music in a certain type of way. Unajua? And so by in a certain type of way, it means like getting a mainstream type of track, then he's singing about very relatable and mainstream stuff. Or if not that, of course, you can sing about politicians. Kenyans wanapenda hiyo shit my. Unajua, you get the mic and be like, yo, natuibia nini? Kenyans will be like, yeah, so true. Then, of course, next week was your story. But yeah. So that would be the second thing where, as I said, summarize, as a Kenyan society, our originality and culture has been tarnished, and nowadays we have a culture of like drinking culture, and so our art has been tied so much to partying, and not just enjoyment. Like, and even more so, yes, imagine us modern artists will be like, yeah, facts, man. But you can imagine now how even traditional artists, what they're going through, what a band, what to have vernacular music, like it's even harder to like grow. Like you always have a ceiling. Kind of say vernacular, there's a ceiling, and you'll just be played in weddings and rallies. But it's not like you'll one day headline a show in your stadium. That's a dream. The best case if you're a vernacular artist is, you go sing at some ambassadorial thing somewhere abroad. Unajua na ukubali hiyo story na uone hiyo ndo kuomoka. So that's the second reason, man. Mbona hii Kenya kufanya muziki extreme sport. So usikatch. You might be really talented, uko na everything, but like our industry is very like space yake, it's very tiny, unajua. And so if you don't like kind of conform to these parameters, how we feel you fit best, becomes hard. No matter how talented you are, to be honest, uko underground, yani there are so many, kuna wase wengi wa noma. And of course I'll be playing even some of these tracks for these underground people. They are so good, like the people who are so good, equal production, equal lyricism, everything. But it's just like almost like they're ahead of their time, or the industry hasn't caught up to them. So the next and third thing yenye mtapata ni sida wa Kenya. In Kenya there's also this attitude of acha niite tu kuna ego. Like kila mtu Kenya kuna ego. Na si kila mtu, rather artists in Nairobi, ego, man. Everyone has made it. Even if you haven't made it, you've made it. So like with ego, like nobody wants to compromise, And so again with ego, there's so much pretending, And so I can tell you for a fact. Of course artists won't tell you, But majority of the artists mnaonanga kwa hizi ma TV zenyu, hizi ma show, people are broke, man. People are broke, or people are like still, just trying to make ends meet, But they still push that illusion that, I'm good. Look at my collabs. I'm chilling here and I'm clubbing. Life is good, we get in this paper. But wasanii wengi mazee wako broke. And then juu kila mtu anadanganya, nobody can meet in a room. Mtu ataki, you can meet, amwezi patana yani at ground zero and you be like, yo guys, what can we do? We push this music. And see what the ego has brought is there's a general lack of the willingness to create a community, because watu wanajali so much about perception rather than about good music. And so unapata you might have so many good people, but because they're not creating a community, everyone is doing averagely, And of course the cliche saying, man, like you can only do so much alone, But when you're like with a team, you create a community, and now pole you start to create like a culture. And you've seen examples, same with like gengeton, ukisema nini. Again, that to make example, I say shrap. You see, because our say walika pamoja na wakamua, it's all about collabing and releasing music, good music that we enjoy as much as possible. That's why they grew. So I say shrap less than, it's maybe 10 years, inaenda kufika 10 years old or something. Kumbuka tukikuwa na Jovi University. That was like 2013. So shrap is maybe inaenda kufanya 10 year anniversary soon. And the reason they've grown is because collabing, like the last thing they care about is, yo bro, are you better than me? It's like, are we all thriving? Unajoenda swali wasi wanafaa kujiuliza. Same thing na gengeton ilikuwa inachachisha juu kila msee alikuwa na collab. Wasi wanatoa mangoma weekly. Unajua? Hata msee anaweza big up pia ni msee ka Calligraph mahali. A reason again he sustains his career in my opinion is because he collabs with people. And he's consistent. Like, yes, he knows he can do it on his own, but because of collabing with people, hata pia improve. And in the end of reality, like when you collab with people and you're around people, you have to be better. Like it pushes you to to be the best. Hawezi lalisha ukikuwa hapo peke yako kwa bedroom, unaweza lalisha. Nikikuwa hapa peke yangu kwa studio, unaweza lalisha. But trust me, when a vocalist comes, when like I'm on my A game, niko like, yo, lazima I have to add value to this process. Unajua? And it just doesn't boil down to artists. Like now, all creatives, because I'd say that's another thing. Like, and I always give the example of South Africa. South Africa, of course, Amapiano has been there. Ilianza tuna instrumentals, then they added vocals, then Amapiano to the world. But when you go and assess like Amapiano and Amapiano tracks, like the level of collaboration that goes down in SA is unmatched, man. It's unmatched. Kenya unakumbuka those days of kina Chihuahua. Niaje 2050 Chihuahua. Like we used to have songs where we have 5 artists collabing because it was about the vibe. It was about building the community, now contributing to the industry. It wasn't about who's the best, And of course, who's the best, we can see it. But it's bigger than that. The moment people can see that you guys are having fun in your circle as a community, they want to be part of that stuff. And that's what happened in SA. And so, to my bigger point, like in SA, the reason the music is so musical is because, yes, there's the producers, kuna sisi, but then there's such a tight union between like producers and instrumentalists. And so it makes the music, it raises the bar. Because of course, producer like me, I haven't done music theory. Nimesoma UTB University. I know my music theory kidogo. But then there are so many people who've studied music professionally. And they know the keys, the mods, the chords, all these things. They can play the brass or sax, kila kitu, So in SA, what happened is, and you can check this for yourself, there's probably like 40% of that industry, let's say, for example, in the Amapiano, who 5 years ago, they were just instrumentalists. Because maybe ilikuwa kucheza kwa weddings, jingles. But then what changed is, the moment they started working with producers, they started getting credited as artists. And so when you go and check like a lot of credits in these Amapiano songs, you'll see something the vocalist, something keys, something, the saxophonist. And so just by virtue of playing that instrument and collabing with producers, these guys have become artists in their own right. Ukikuja huko Kenya, there are so many guys who are good at like, be it violin, be it piano, be it what. But again, the ego, and not just ego, of course, there's a defeatist, like wasana wako defeated, kwa sababu they have these skills which they have not been able to do nothing with. And the best they can do is, the conservatoire, it was a Bray band where you go at Nairobi Orchestra. And when you go there, it's really very an African music. Opera type of, classical music. Yeah, just boring stuff. And so, like, I think I always say, and again, like when you try to meet an instrumentalist, and let's say it's someone like me, who's like producing, and I'm like, yo, so you pull up, maze, there's this track I'm working on, I'd love your input. I played my simple chords, but I want you to beef them up and make them saucy. An instrumentalist will be very quick to be like, okay, pay me 6K. Pay me 6K, I'll come. And of course, maybe as a producer, you don't have that. You don't have that cash, But inabidi embrace. But you see, the other side of things is the instrumentalist can just come, do his part, and ask for royalties. And of course, it's not like tini magic to ati pap utaweka saxophone yako hapo kwa beat na kuisha Ameomoka. But if there was more collaboration between like instrumentalists, vocalists, and I'm saying professional vocalists and producers, by default it would slowly start elevating our sound. Pole pole tu. And the more you elevate the sound, the more global appeal inakuwa nayo. Najua. So that's the third thing, ego. And so if you're entering in this industry, if you have ego, like it becomes hard. And the ego is good to some extent, but like not ego that sabotages like collaboration or makes you feel, that you can't associate with other people. That's what I like about SA. Like, it's not about who you are, where you're from. Do you have fire? Unaweza imba vinoma, unaweza rap, are you a producer? Like, can you add sauce to the culture? That is at the core. Like, it's not about who you are, who you know. It's about the music, That's the third thing. 4. maisha ya bibi na watoto ni ngumu. Is all I can say. Anyway, I was talking about private sector. So in the end, so private sector basically I try kusema in terms of what the corporates do with their money and how they engage with art, tunaweza ita it's very toxic. It's very toxic. Because if you look at like what most the types of corporates are associated with art, unfortunately in corporates and no beef with them, but like ukiangalia ideally in corporates zina push to like their brand is a brand that is not attractive, and so you need art to kind of make it attractive. So examples ni like gambling. So you find most of like guys who are sponsoring concerts, cyphers, call it what you want, are like gambling sites. So like Empower, I remember, I think it's a Msanii site, but it's a gambling site that is hedging funds for artists. So at the end of the day, yes, as an artist you need that money, but at the end of the day, if it's Betika or whoever, they use your platform now to kind of water down what they do. And so somebody will see like, hey, Betika, yes, of course, kuna Kenya 95% wako addicted to gambling. But then now when you see, Betika is helping this guy shoot the video, Ama is doing what, Betika is sponsoring a cypher, you are where as a Kenyan home, you're like, hey, this company is really trying. But then now you find that we've gotten this culture where we, even as an artist to thrive, those are the things you're relying on, like sponsorships from Betika or Betika, but like betting companies, basically, because their name really rhymes. But betting companies, basically. And you can look at it even in sports, like when SportPesa came, they were everywhere, And people will be like, yeah, it's great money, but at the end of the day, for them, it's nikusafisha. They're just trying to clean their brand, because at the end of the day, they deal with gambling, which is very addictive. But when you see it doing positive things, you're kind of less hard on them, Another type of corporatization is with alcohol companies. And that one now is as clear as day. Like 95% of gigs in Kenya, maybe even 100%, they have to have an alcohol sponsor. The biggest gigs are hosted by alcoholic brands. And of course, we know the king is Diageo. Then it's just rebranded Nakina Tusker and whatnot. But you'd see Oktoberfest, Jameson Live, Valentine's something. Squeezing ni jeans. Sijui kama wase wa jeans wanafanyanga events, but you get the gist. Like, Ikweni Cypher, Hennessy, like it has to be. And so at the end of the day, think about it. It's not like these guys love art. Maybe they do, but I don't think so. I don't think the bigger goal is to rebrand and like kind of move the conversation from the fact that it's alcohol and it's not great for you. Maybe if you like, it's great for you, but generally it's not great for you. But through the artists, they're able to water down, because you start associating it with success stories. You're like, yeah, this guy did Jameson, this guy was in the cypher for Hennessy. So it almost becomes like an achievement, like like kupoa sponsorship ya pombe ni growth. No, and it's okay, but it's a problem if that's the main source of income as an artist. Pia nimesahau Smirnoff. And so unapata in the long run, so many artists are reliant on brands which, to be honest, on a global level will damage your profile as an artist, and so many artists are quick to chrome nafutuka chrome. So Msanii Kenya will easily, if Chrome is like, we'll pay you 30k a month to be posting content for us, at least 2 videos a week, Msanii wa Kenya is kata hiyo deal, because at the end of the day the artist is hungry. Msanii ako na njaa. And so that's like, oh my god, that comes through. So at the end of the day wanajua pia msanii ako na njaa, because not many Kenyan artists are getting money from music in terms of royalties. We know Priest and Camp and all those guys are just crap. Najua royalties, say people hitting 2 million views are getting 5k royalties and whatnot. And so unapata at the end of the day corporates, it's not like, and you never find like, what do I say? I can't say good corporates, but just normal corporates that deal with products outside of like drugs and gambling. It's not like most of them don't really support music like that. It's not like NTV has a festival, Standard Media has a festival, or has even shows. Kitambo there used to be shows, Dancomanias and what, but nowadays, there's very little of that. There's very little of like, I guess what like Willis Raburu does in Citizen, So that's reason number 4. Like, even if you were to be a good artist, probably the first offers utapata once you kind of start getting some clout will be from those types of companies, from betting, gambling, Makali, vapes maybe, and at best clothes, maybe clothes people wase wanguo will try. But again, it's not like that industry is really thriving. So I'll stop there at number 4 because I had 8, and this video is already done. Meshafka now. But I'll mention them again. So the first thing is, number 1, the government is not on your side. Like, it's almost like the laws in our country are anti-art. Number 2 is, in Kenya we have like an identity crisis where there's no concrete culture that we can say we base our art on, or that these shared values. Like nowadays Nairobi is so broken up where like, it's so broken up, like, and people adapting different things. So kuna watu squeezy, it's drill 24/7. Kuna watu wanaitwa New Nairobi, the guys for K1s and Alchemists and Mama Nyamas and Nyama Mamas who do their, it's almost like they're just living abroad. They'll do their new soul, R&B, and their hip hop, of course, but like this Lil Uzi, Lil whatever type of hip hop, and so, and also plus the drinking culture. So it's almost like to make a hit, it has to be very mainstream, very catchy, and just talking about perambulation and turn up or girls. You can, or maybe, as I said, social issues. That's the other aspect of where you can get money. Thirdly, is, as I was saying, is ego, where, so many people on different levels have ego, which inhibits collaboration, and people prefer to just be paid up front rather than to work on projects of longevity. And if you look at all success stories, to be honest, all your artists, when you unapenda ikwe kina Lil Wayne, ikwe kina Rihanna, of course there's labels there, but the beginning was so much hedged on having a team and now working together. So you'd find there like three rappers who teamed up with a videographer, and they were just pushing out content, and then they collab, they do their small gig kwa mtaa, and that's how they grew until some point now the mainstream was like, we can take your shit, kujeni. Then lastly, of course, vile nimesema ni private sector. Like, most of the private sector that's associated with art is, watu wanafanya stories za gambling, watu wanafanya stories za betting, stories za pombe. Those are the corporates that will approach you when you start thriving, when you start showing signs of, greatness. And so by default, you kind of have to align your brand to match that brand. Because if you're there singing conscious music, let me say, why would Tusker come? If you're telling people, stay healthy. It's tough. It's gotta be tough. So I'll stop there. I'll do a part 2. But kaa pia unadhania kuna kitu sijasema, kama wewe ni producer, wewe ni msanii, you can drop a comment down there. Then when I do part 2, maybe I'll mention some of those that I didn't have in my list. But yeah, I'll stop there. I'll stop at those 4. And that's let's say part 1 of the 4 reasons why it's a problem being an artist in Kenya, and why you might struggle to fulfill your dreams as an artist, more so to sustain yourself. So yeah, tumefika mwisho. I want to say thank you all for listening, for those who have listened for this 1 hour. And I think also, I hope this type of content helps, because Kenyans, that's another thing. I don't see people talking about these stories, and I just don't see people talking about these stories. Another ni important. Kama wasanii pia, the more we talk about it, the more we can call each other out. Takwa like, Anyamona sema hizi story na juzi pia mimi nilikuhalo kanilenga. Yeah, puts you in the spot. So tune in for part 2. Of course, the podcast will be on all those podcasting platforms, but I'm operating mainly on YouTube. Share with your fellow artists. Unajua wasikie imedi kama inaweza, kama iwezi. And yeah, I think the more tunabonga, man, the more tunaweza fika place tunaweza chachisha as a group, and we can kind of make moves and be honest with each other. So once again, thanks for listening in on the Source Roadcast. Nashukuru sana. Have a lovely week ahead. And I'll see you next time.
I'm the source. I'm the source. I'm the source, yeah. I'm the source. I'm the source. I'm the source.